I think that it's a real problem because there's a lot of points where, I did give criticism of Donald Trump, during the Syria crisis, and it was just practical criticism, just practical. Now, I'm not saying, you're a warmongering Hitler, Donald Trump. I'm just saying, this is a bad idea. I even presented like a different idea. Now, I didn't have any viewership, but that's not the point. The point is that, if you make everything into like hyperbole and exaggeration, then, legitimate or practical criticism doesn't even get any attention. And that's why, like, I like to say, like, what you're saying is very funny that Bernie supporter like Esperanza says that, because there's a creator out there, and we'll get to somebody similar to him. We can't mention him by name because it would be too specific. But Tariq Nasheed, for example, which is a similar guy, he labels anybody that disagrees with him an SWS, a suspected white supremacist, or a WS, just a white supremacist. And I'm segueing to the next topic. We were speaking, this is how I actually met Esperanza, in terms of like, communicating. There was a guy who he started saying, I believe it was after the movie Get Out was released in theaters. He started talking shit about, do you need me to stop cussing? Because I know there's like kids around. So.
It's all right. Don't worry about it.
That's okay. So yeah, I'm used to like just saying whatever. But anyway, there's this guy. He started talking smack about white women, and this is a black individual. A very well-educated black individual. And I said, you know what? I've seen your academic profile page at a certain university in a certain state between South Carolina and Alabama, and I noticed that you're married to a white woman, so why don't you get a divorce? And he dodged the topic, and we got into. I remember.
Not even dodged the topic. He doesn't even up that at all. Like if you shout him out about it, he disappears. He disappears from the conversation.
The funniest thing he said, I remember. I don't know if you remember this. It was like bizarre. I don't know if disturbing, but it was bizarre. He said that his wife behaves in the exact way that a white woman should behave in his mind. And I said, that might be first of all, if you're like, because he considers himself a feminist, I said, what the hell are you talking about?
Right.
What are you talking? I mean, literally, what are you? It's almost like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy talking to that guy. And then, and I guess these aren't questions. It's almost like just a reminiscence.
Right.
But what was the thing that you were asking him stuff, and then he was saying, what was he saying about you? I mean, I kind of forgot his angle, but it had something to do about like. Sorry, I got some feedback in my ear.
I just remember those conversations being mostly where I would say, why are you married to a white woman if this is how you feel about the black community? Shouldn't you be married to a black woman? Shouldn't you be upbuilt? And the thing is, a lot of the positions the reason why I was asking him a lot of those questions about his white wife is because within the black community, it would be considered outrageous on the part of black women that you have this highly educated man, basically who's turned away from his people. I mean, this is how, maybe I shouldn't speak for black women. I don't know. But I belong to a lot of these black women empowerment pages on Facebook, just because I like a lot of what they say about, staying positive and how to find a good partner and, being career focused and blah, blah, blah. I do like a lot of their messages. But when they speak about especially educated black men, he was like a perfect example of the type of guy that they're talking about, who the minute they reach a certain position within society, boom, they get the white woman. And he hated that I would bring that up. I mean, he wouldn't even touch it. I mean, he would disappear. And then other women, I would get pounded on by other people on his comments. But yeah, it was just his positions on white women and how they're like a big part of the white patriarchy, and they also, enforce white supremacy and blah, blah, blah. I mean, it was just, I just found it to be, like you said, bizarre, considering that he's married to a white woman. I was just, I don't know, it was just weird. The whole thing
It's very similar. This weekend they were talking about one of the alt-right people, the guy, I think he runs the Daily Stormer, who's a neo-Nazi who was married to a Jewish woman, and he at least had the courtesy to divorce her. But I mean, just keep it real. But the other funny thing was that on his show, which I used to watch, and in fact I think I have to cancel my PayPal because I was contributing like $3 a month to their show, just because the other person on this show is actually very, very intelligent, sometimes a very perceptive lady who we will not name because I obviously don't want to get sorry.
Then it'll be obvious.
Right. I'm not trying. What we're trying to do here for the viewers who will watch later is toe the line between 1984 and basically the Breakfast Club. Like tell some funny stories, but then we can't even talk about who these people are because what. And by the way, the people we're talking about get flagged all the time too, so it's a two-way street.
Oh, definitely, yeah. You
yeah.
know what? That was when he talked about white genocide might have to happen. I was like, well, alrighty then. So then maybe some white people, what did he say? He was like, yeah, white genocide may have to happen. We may have to kill white folk. I was like, okay, all right. So this needs to be flagged. Everybody else is getting flagged for their BS. I'm going to submit this to be flagged. And I did. I felt a little bit hypocritical about it because I don't think that's what people should be doing. But F it. At that point, I was like, this guy's out of control and he needs to be put in his place. Everybody else is being shouted out.
I don't even know. Sometimes I'm tempted to do stuff like that, but then it's like, why even let this? I mean, it's easier just to let this guy, dig his. First of all, he does tremendous damage to his own cause.
Right.
One of the things that they do on that show, which I'm a little, ambivalent about, is they kind of they attack the Hispanic community and other minority communities because they think that they detract from the priorities of the black community,
right.
which sometimes it makes a little sense, but they're overly aggressive about it. Yeah. And I remember during that chat, a lot of his followers were taking the cues and attacking you because even though you're not, a what do you call African American woman, you're a woman. I mean, what descent would you say that you are? Without revealing.
I consider myself a woman of color because that's what this country considers me to be.
But you're from Latin America, right?
Yeah, I'm from a Caribbean country. Yes.
Yes. So.
A Spanish-speaking Caribbean country.
Exactly. And in their minds, and it's the same thing. There was a baseball player named Torrey Hunter, who otherwise I think is like a pretty intelligent guy, but he said once, when asked about the declining number of black people in Major League Baseball, he said, well, yeah, they're edging us out. And somebody asked him, well, what about all the Venezuelan and Puerto Rican and Mexican and all these other Latin American athletes? Well, he said, well, those are imposters. They're not really black people. And never got suspended for it. Nothing ever happened. I think he had to issue like a mild apology or something.
Right.
And I think it's a very sad issue where on the one hand you have constant flagging of people, public people. Curt Schilling got fired from, and if we're just talking about sports, I mean, you could probably talk about in whatever interest that you have, and I'm I can presume you do care about sports a little. I'm not going to be gender.
You can talk about sports.
Gender assuming. No, I don't want to assume because you're not a male that you don't like sports. But
I love sports, but I just don't follow it as much as I used to. But
you might remember. I think it was last year. Curt Schilling got fired from ESPN for saying a couple things that were perceived as, or he shared a meme that was considered transphobic. He got fired for it right away. Meanwhile, there's other guys. Stephen A. Smith hangs out with Floyd Mayweather, who is a wife beater. and he's the most popular person on ESPN. So, I think that double standard is pretty clear. Let's
Right.
talk. Let's talk a little now